Welcome back. This week we're desperately playing a much needed game of what am I going to throw out? Because yes, sometimes not all seeds are meant to grow and some of them won't. I mean, some of them might, but how much time am I realistically going to waste on a lot of these? I think I maybe picked out one or two of them to continue to try to work on while letting the rest of them very much hit the trash can. I decided, however, that these dried up date seeds I was not going to throw out, but I'm going to try to rehydrate them probably at a later date. I don't know what's going on with them, but you know what? They either will or they won't. But do you know what absolutely will is these pineapples? And I think it's time for them to come out of water and go into some dirt. I mean, I don't think growing them hydroponically is an option for me right now, so I've gone ahead and taken some of these old pots out of my collections, and we're going to try to get the root balls to continue to grow after we place them in dirt. I'm going to strip down some more of these leaves because I, for one, don't like the look, and two, would like this to be further down in the soil, giving it an opportunity to grow a more stronger root ball. And then eventually the tiny little leaves that are new growth coming out of the top will be the only little leaves, really, that you'll see. So basically, for those that do need the technical term, I'm essentially just pruning the brown off of this plant and choosing to move it forward into the dirt. And I hope it likes it. I mean, I think these pots are really cute, and I'm glad that I'm going to be able to be looking at them again in my collection, but I don't think they'll be in this very, very long, if we're being perfectly honest. Now, as far as other things that we are trying to rehydrate and grow, these tulip bulbs, I had to drain all of the disgusting water out of it and put it in one of these gallon milk jugs to throw out. I mean, it's no longer single use, so I think that's what counts. But I did start to see some root growth happening on those, so we'll see what happens as it continues to progress. I'm not really feeling very hopeful for them, but again, Violet helped me to pick out some of these pots to use for the pineapples, so we have a better chance of making a really good solid root ball. Some of these have more growth than others, and I just kind of hope that at some point I can accomplish whatever this weird goal is of wanting to grow a pineapple for myself, because I don't know, I feel like once you get into growing things, you just become obsessed with growing the most random of things. And I really do like the way that the pineapple plant looks because it reminds me of a lot of other plants that I have done really well with and enjoy this leaf pattern, I guess you could say. It's kind of almost like the same leaf pattern that you would see a snake plant performing in, but I'm getting sidetracked. I'm not using anything special when it comes to the dirt. It's just more or less some soil that I had kicking around that had dried out from other plant endeavors that was still just well draining enough where I felt like if I overwatered it, in a sense, in a pot that didn't have a drain hole, it would be just as well as if it did have a drain hole, because it would still meet the need of helping to saturate but not completely waterlog, if that makes sense. I mean, I guess the only other way I can think to explain it is that you would definitely know that you had filled enough water quickly, whereas with soil it might be a little difficult to mask. This one had a lot of really brown leaves that I just was not feeling, so I ended up making the top of it so skinny, and I feel like this is when this plant starts to look really attractive, especially because I love like the Dracaena plant, and I think that it kind of starts to look like that. But sometimes when you're dreaming of other plants, you have to make do with what you've got and just enjoy the things that you have, because I guess that's what you get. But I realized pretty quickly that I did not have enough containers to do what I wanted to do, but I still have enough containers where I can pull off a sort of scientific experiment with some of these as we go, because a lot of them have similar root development as far as their current root ball goes, So if I place them all in different settings, we can kind of see which one does the best. We can definitely find out if the one that has no drain hole is going to perform better than the one that does have a drain hole. And I decided I was going to leave some in water to see if they still continue to thrive with just the water alone and how much of a difference we'd see over the course of time. So I guess there is a little bit of a method to all this madness. But I really have grown very fond of how all of these pineapples are looking on my pineapple shelf, and I'll keep you updated as they grow.